Jennifer Hudson herself plays Maine. And even for her, when she read the script, and she immediately came on board, she told us that it was something she wished she had seen as a little girl.
My brains, your brawn, we can be superheroes. What do you think?
No.
What? Not in that outfit.
Zang, we did the thing.
Yeah, we did.
I had a blast watching this show. I got home late last night from a screening and I was like, oh, I got to watch 3 episodes. I'll just watch one. I said to myself, I watched all 3.
Yes. Mission accomplished. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
They were so much fun. I didn't think I was going to like it. When I first read about the show, I thought, oh, it's going to be directed for kids, aimed at kids. So, probably be more focused on that. I was like, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh,
There's just
that's awesome.
so much to like.
We're so happy to hear that.
Libe, you and the actress who plays Lunella, you guys are just so endearing. It's just really, really fun. It's a beautiful friendship. They're not competing against each other, which they always pit women against women, right?
That's right.
Like it's always in a competitive nature, but it's just beautiful how they both lift each other up.
That's right. That was
And
very
it's
important for us.
It's really important to have the right voices. And you guys, Pilar, you guys found the right voices for these characters because you just fall in love with them like instantly.
Oh,
Can you
we
talk
sure
about
did. They
casting them?
Oh my God, they're absolutely perfect for the roles. Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, both Diamond and Libe walked in and they just, they filled the character. They became their characters. And what's funny is that over time, their own personalities and authentic elements and story ideas have infused into the characters and grown them to totally new heights. And it's funny because Diamond and Libe themselves, and you can speak to this in real life, have such a beautiful bond and they're so supportive of one another, and that truly comes across on screen. So we're so lucky to have been able to find these 2 magical, incredible, strong women to fill these parts.
Libe, what was it like for you? Because you play a sort of an influencer. They always portray them as annoying, right? It's all about them, but you really fall in love with your character because you're just very endearing. And can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very lucky to get to voice Casey. I think like from the beginning, she's just written so well. And also like, yeah, Diamond and I record most of our episodes together at the same time.
Oh.
It's like, yeah, either whether like, I mean, I live in New York right now, I'm in LA, but normally like we record from opposite sides of the country. And like when we were locked down, we did it from like, I did it from my closet in New York and Diamond did it from her room in LA, but we would do it together. And we were always really encouraged to like, add stuff to it. And like they're like, we want to find the like weird awkward jump on each other, and like we want to find those like sort of very real awkward 13-year-old friendship things that I think is really special. And I don't know if I've seen it in a cartoon before. When I got the audition for this part, like this Casey was just Latina, and then when I got cast, they were like, we know that you're Latina and Jewish, like how do you feel about making Casey Jewish too? And I was like, yeah, I love it. And I get a bat mitzvah episode and I get to sing in the bat mitzvah episode, and it's so fun.
Ooh, this one's a fighter.
It's like you always say, one girl can make a difference, right?
And I was trying to find out last night, but it was already late. The Beyonder, who voices the Beyonder? The
Beyonder is voiced by none other than the Laurence Fishburne.
I knew it because he's an executive producer on the show.
He is the executive producer. He was the one that brought the show to Disney and Marvel. So he is the reason we're here. And for him, he was so excited to play in this animation sandbox. It's something he'd done little bits of, but he's such a fan of the Marvel comics and of animation.
Oh.
So for him to get to play and do these lines in such an expression-filled way has been so fun. It's so fun to see him convert into a little boy, in the booth himself.
Is that him singing?
That is him singing.
He's got a great voice.
Doesn't he? I know, that's what we told
that.
him. He is so good. Yeah, we would love to have him do more of that.
OMG.
I really love the hair episode. Oh my God, so genius. She straightens her hair with her own concoction and it becomes a villain. I was like, oh my God,
Yes.
how perfect is that? I mean, it's you're getting the action, but you're also getting some real issues within the community. It speaks to everybody because nobody's happy with the hair they're born. Like if it's too curly, you want it straight. If it's curly, or if the opposite version, so people can really relate to that episode.
Well, that was one of the amazing things about having a majority female writers room. Pretty much now it's completely an all female run writers room. And even in the brainstorm process, what we try to do is think of topics that were important to 13-year-old little girls, especially diverse 13-year-old little girls. And what was amazing about having this all-female writers' room is that the topics that came up may have seemed like small topics to others, but to us, we knew, like you say, the topic of our hair and what it means to us and how it represents us and how we see ourselves through it is really important to women. And it's something we don't talk about enough. And especially in the African-American community, all they've gone through, you know, in relation to hair historically is something that, you know, we felt was an important message to speak on in a very humorous but meaningful way. And that is one of my favorite episodes, especially because Jennifer Hudson herself plays Maine. And even for her, when she read the script, you know, and she immediately came on board, she told us that it was something she wished she had seen as a little girl, you know, that meant a lot to her and her own family. So it's just amazing to see this group of women come together and tell a story that, like I say, there's so many stories about women that haven't been told, you know, in this kind of important and meaningful way. So that's one of my favorite personal episodes.
You go, blue girl. Do your thing.
I love that you throw in some Spanish. Was that in the script or it was kind of natural? It felt kind of natural. So I don't know if you threw that in there.
Yeah.
Well, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's in the script mostly, but occasionally when I'm like ad-libbing, like I'll like throw something in too. And that's something that like I've talked a lot about to Pilar and the other and the writers and stuff that I'm like, I'm like, it means so much to get to like speak Spanish and be like the cool girl that's a part of like the superhero group that like, if I would have loved to have seen that as a little girl, like a cool part of a superhero girl who's like, you know, who's speaking Spanish and is like celebrated for it. And I think it's really special.
Well, and I'm so glad you brought up the Spanish because it's basically Libe and I writing all those lines. In script, I'm the one that actually adds all the Spanish in. And for me, it was really important to make sure it was something a little Puerto Rican girl living in New York would say. So as you know, the Spanish language is so, diverse in itself. So we wanted to make it really specific to her. So I start by adding, and infusing those little bits of Spanish, and then Libe will take that and improv with it or take it to new heights. So exciting to get to work with Libe on creating that part of the character. Because I know for my kids, every time she speaks Spanish, they go crazy. They're so excited to see themselves, in that representation on screen.
And with the Spanish too, I think that it's also done, it's not just thrown in for the sake of being thrown in. I think that also like, I don't know, also something like every time I get a script and I'm looking at it, I look at like, because there are specific times when, bilingual people will code switch and like, and I think that there's like an awareness of like when that happens. And like, if there's ever a time that I'm like, I actually don't know if she would just say this one word in this, like, they're like, totally, let's say that one in English, we'll find another place to throw in Spanish. And it's like, yeah, it's very collaborative like that. Yeah,
it's mostly reactionary, which is how we all talk. And I love the representation in here. I spotted a concha in there when they're getting desserts. I was like, hey,
that's right. Yes.
So Pilar, for you, how important is it to represent not just Latinos and African Americans, but the whole neighborhood, like a whole gamut? There's like a whole gamut of representation.
That was one of our main missions, was to make sure we were authentically representing this neighborhood, the community, the people within it. And from day one, we hired, it starts with hiring a diverse group of leadership and artists that are able to draw, write, express these characters in as authentic of a way possible. And within our own crew, we actually did something very different from other shows in general, or especially animated shows, where we invited the whole crew to infuse their own ideas, little nuggets, like you said, like authentic little elements throughout. So you'll see every layer has all these like incredible little details that you wouldn't normally see in a show. And it's because we started with a diverse team that had that mission in mind. And we took it from script to the actors, as Libe was saying, all the way to the screen. Another thing that we did that I'm super proud of is, even though we were a really diverse crew, unconscious bias is a very real thing. And we knew that from day one. So we actually created a tracker. One of our amazing production supervisors, Alan March, took it upon himself to create a tracker showing the community of the Lower East Side, what the makeup of it was, and making sure that we were reflecting it in an authentic way. And whatever areas we were missing, that we consciously went in and filled those in. So I'm so proud of what we achieved. I think it's one of the most authentic pieces of animation that's ever existed out there.